Prepare for climate change, not war. '28th Kelantan ruler Sultan Ismail Petra dies. Good afternoon, welcome to News on 2. I'm Jessica Lee. Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said the international community, instead of preparing for war, should be paying attention to the climate changes and accompanying natural disasters. Now, echoing the ongoing global climate change movement, the Premier said countries should also be prepared for major earthquakes, typhoons and hurricanes, floods and landslides. In his statement at the general debate of the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly on Friday, Tun Dr. Mahathir said the world should learn how to mitigate these natural disasters in constructing shelters, make rain and grow food without sunlight, evacuate the seaside, among other initiatives.
Instead of preparing for war, we should be paying attention to the climate changes and accompanying natural disasters. We should be preparing to combat climate change, to bring back the normal environment we had been used to over the last thousands of years.
The Malaysian leader stressed that teams of well-equipped disaster experts should be at the ready to rush to disaster areas, underscoring that every disaster is a world disaster. He said human creatures are very clever and can still survive the next cycle if they set researchers to come up with defenses against catastrophes. In highlighting another global concern, specifically one that relates to Malaysia, Tun Dr. Mahathir stressed Malaysia's objection over attempts to ban the import of palm oil, saying it is a classic case of the denial of free trade. Speaking at the general debate of the 74th session of the UN General Assembly on Friday, the Malaysian Premier made his case against such move, stating that palm oil was still a big contributor to the country's economy. Tun Dr. Mahathir reckoned that due to inability to sustain Europe's competitiveness of their own edible oils, a campaign was mounted to ban palm oil with claims that palm oil is poisonous to health, destroy the habitat of long-nosed monkeys, reduce carbon dioxide absorption, and so on.
A classic case of the denial of free trade is the ban on the import of palm oil proposed by the European countries. Unable to sustain the competitiveness of their own edible oils, a campaign is mounted to ban palm oil. There is no evidence that it is poisonous. Millions have taken palm oil and have not fallen ill because of taking of palm oil. We appeal to the good sense of the rich not to impoverish us, not to deprive hundreds of thousands of our workers from earning a living. You will be doing a good deed by consuming palm oil.
Underscoring that Malaysia was as concerned about the environment as the Europeans, the Prime Minister pointed out that the country's forest cover currently stood at 55.3%, exceeding the pledge it made at the Rio Earth Summit in 1992 to maintain at least 50% of land mass under forest cover. Later at the press conference, Tun Dr. Mahathir spoke out against the meddling of powerful countries in international affairs. The Premier reiterated his position to trade wars and international interference.
Well, we would not like to break our trade relations with Iran. But we are told that if we... I don't believe in confrontation. I don't believe in wars, even if it is only a trade war. I believe in negotiation. So if you negotiate or you have a third party to arbitrate, or you can go to a court of law. We believe in being following the rule of law And yet when we have such differences in opinion and conflicts, including that has caused a fracture, the solution comes through negotiating, talking to each other.
The Prime Minister said he did not support sanctions on Iran, but Malaysia felt obliged to comply because of US pressure. Former Kelantan ruler Sultan Ismail Petra Sultan Yahya Petra passed away this morning after a long bout with an unspecified illness. He was 69. He took his last breath at 8:11 a.m. at the Royal Ward of the Raja Perempuan Zainab II Hospital in Kota Baru. His son, Sultan Muhammad V, is the current ruler of Kelantan since 2010. Sultan Ismail first ascended the throne in 1979. The Kelantan Palace, through its Instagram page, said Sultan Ismail's body will be brought to the Istana Balai Besar for final rites before a royal funeral at the Langgar Royal Mausoleum in Kota Baru after the Asar prayers. All royal family members and the people who want to pay their final respects to Almarhum Sultan Ismail Petra are requested to wear the white baju Melayu for men or the white robes jubah for women. The songkok must be adorned with a white band. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail also confirmed the death of the 28th Kelantan Sultan, who had been ailing for some years, in a tweet. 7 in a family from Kampung Bintawa Ulu Kuching, Sarawak, became homeless when their house was burnt down in a fire last night. Everyone fortunately escaped unharmed. Petra Jaya Fire Rescue Operations Commander Azharul Sahari said in the 8:15 p.m. incident, the fire, which started in the living room, quickly spread to the ceiling of the house. 26 firemen from Petra Jaya, Tabuan Jaya and Kuching Fire and Rescue Station, along with 3 fire engines, were rushed to the scene. Quick action of the firemen prevented fire from spreading to nearby homes. The fire was eventually put out at 8:50 p.m. And on to some business news. The Finance Ministry, or MOF, has welcomed the termination of transaction charges imposed by 26 commercial banks on cash and cheque transactions for credit cards and financing repayments over the counter of up to RM2.50 at cash deposit machines. Now, Minister Lim Guan Eng said the Association of Banks Malaysia, ABM, had done well to heed the ministry's advice to listen to the views of the public and consumers. Lim said the abolishment of the charges, effective 2 days ago, showed the commercial bank's commitment to fulfill the needs of users using technology, but without burdening them financially. It was reported that the fee for making credit card and loan payments over the counter with cash or cheques was RM2 per transaction and 50 cents for payments made using cash deposit machines and cheque deposit machines. In response, the Association of Banks in Malaysia, or ABM, said 26 commercial banks in Malaysia would stop charging the fees. The transaction charges were first implemented in December 2017 under the previous government to promote the migration to e-payments. The Finance Minister said the termination of the charges effective 26th of September demonstrates that the commercial banks are committed to serving consumer needs, using the latest technology without financially burdening them. JDT2 books place in Challenge Cup final. Johor Darul Takzim, or JDT2, secured their place in the final of the 2019 Challenge Cup when they defeated defending champions Terengganu FC, or TFC2, 2-1 in the second leg of their semi-final match at the Pasir Gudang Municipal Council Stadium last night. JDT2 scored first in the 53rd minute through Nicolas Alberto Fernandez. They then doubled the score through a Mat Ruzaimi goal in the 64th minute. The visitors pulled one back in the 75th minute through Deki Marcel. Their comeback, however, was too late as JDT2 held on to book their place in the final. And that concludes this afternoon's edition of News on 2. In our top story, prepare for climate change, not war. Join us again at 7 this evening. I'm Jessica Lee. Thank you for watching.